Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer, where we take on complex topics and break them down into clear, engaging presentations. Have you ever looked at an old black and white photo and just wondered, what would it really be like to see that moment in full, living color? To feel that genuine connection, to see the past just as it was truly lived? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're diving deep into how you can transform these monochrome images from the public domain into vibrant masterpieces. We'll look at the super easy one-click AI tools, and we'll also check out the more hands-on digital artist techniques. And along the way, we're going to tackle a really fascinating, very modern question. When you use these tools, who or what is the actual creator? All right, first up, prepping the perfect canvas. Before we can even think about adding a splash of color, we've got to deal with a super common issue with old photos. They're often pretty low resolution. So our first step to a great result is a process called upscaling. Okay, this is an absolutely crucial distinction to make. Simply resizing an image just stretches the pixels that are already there, which, yeah, makes it bigger, but it also makes it blurry and pixelated. AI upscaling, on the other hand, is a complete game changer. It's not stretching anything. It uses machine learning to intelligently generate brand new, realistic pixels, adding genuine detail for a much, much sharper final product. And you have plenty of options for this. For a quick fix, there are great free online tools like Enhance Image or Canvas AI Upscaler. They work right in your web browser, so you don't need a powerful computer. But for those of you who want maximum quality and control, professional software like Topaz, Gigapixel AI, or Adobe Photoshop's super resolution feature is the way to go. They'll give you the absolute best possible starting point. And now for the main event, two paths to color. Once your image is all prepped and sharp, there are basically two main approaches you can take to add that color, each with its own benefits and, well, creative implications. On one side, you've got the one-click AI method. It's fast, it's automated, and it's incredibly accessible to just about anyone. On the other side, you have the digital artist method. This is a much more hands-on, manual process that gives you complete and total creative freedom over the final image. The AI method is honestly just brilliant in its simplicity. You just pick an online service, like Palette.fm, you upload your black and white image, and that's pretty much it. The AI's algorithm, which has been trained on millions of color photos, does all the heavy lifting for you. In just a few seconds, you get a fully colorized image. It seriously feels like magic. But the manual method, that's where you truly become the artist. In a program like Photoshop, you meticulously add each individual color on its own layer. This is where the real creative choices come into play. Are you aiming for perfect historical accuracy, researching the exact color of a uniform? Or are you taking some artistic license to create a specific mood? You control every single choice, painting the color exactly where you want it. It's definitely more involved, but the payoff is total artistic freedom. Okay, so you've created this stunning new work, but whether you spent 10 seconds or 10 hours on it, we've just stumbled into a really fascinating and legally complex question. And that question is this: who actually owns the copyright to this new colorized image? I mean, you started with a public domain photo, sure, but you've clearly created something entirely new. So who's the legal author? Is it you, or is it the AI? The answer really hinges on a core legal principle here in the United States called the human authorship requirement. And it's actually pretty simple. U.S. copyright law says that for a work to be protected by copyright, it has to be created by a human being. A machine or an AI simply cannot be recognized as an author. This whole idea is perfectly illustrated by the real-world case of the graphic novel Zarya of the Dawn. The author wrote all the text but used an AI to generate all of the images. The Copyright Office ruled that while her text and the creative arrangement of the book were protected, the individual AI-generated images themselves were not, because they lacked sufficient human authorship. So, how does this precedent apply to our colorized photos? Well, it all comes down to which of those two methods you actually used to create it. So, the crucial point, according to the U.S. Copyright Office, is this. It all depends on how much creative control you, the human, had over the final result. Were you just an operator pushing a button, or were you the artist making expressive choices? This table breaks it all down perfectly. If you use the one-click AI method, your input was minimal. The AI made all the creative decisions about color. Because of that, the work is considered AI-generated, and it falls right into the public domain. No copyright for you. But if you use the digital artist method, choosing the colors, carefully painting them in, making dozens of creative choices, then yes, your human-authored contributions can be protected by copyright. So the key takeaway here is pretty simple. A work created entirely by an AI isn't copyrightable in the US. It just falls into the public domain. However, and this is a big however, your own creative additions and significant modifications can be protected. And importantly, if you do try to register a copyright for a work that has AI-generated parts, you are legally required to disclose that to the Copyright Office. And all of this leaves us with one last, really big question to think about. We're in an era where AI is quickly evolving from being just a tool, like a camera, to being more of a creative partner. As this technology keeps advancing, it's going to force all of us to reconsider the very definitions of art, of authorship, and what it truly means to be an artist.